So energy management in the field of business. Well, number one, you got to know who you are and what you do. And that takes time. So at first, when I started my business, I kind of did everything. But I quickly realized that I had no interest in admin, customer service. Depends on the day. Maybe I'm in a mood to answer an email today. Maybe I'm in a good mood. Maybe I'm not in a good mood. So it's inconsistent. Then there's personnel development. Not in the mood for this. So yeah, but all these are integral part of the business. So if these things are not done properly, the business cannot grow because the container that you're building is not sealed, so it cannot accommodate more currency, aka money. So you got a problem. So as you start to discover who you are and what you're really designed to do, then you start to say, okay, well, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna work with somebody. And I want to find somebody who's good at doing that, who's going to resolve my problem. And I need somebody to do this. But in order to understand this, you have to have a sense of your business and what it needs. I need this in my business, I need this in my business, I need this in my business, I need this in my business. And you have to also realize the importance of all these elements and how all of these elements together create the business. If I have a weak administration, you're fucked. It's over. There's no way your business can grow because there's too much data, it's all over the place, and in one way or another, you're gonna have a problem, or it's gonna be an accounting problem eventually. Everything starts to, it's all one thing. So for me, the most important thing in life is know thyself, know who you are. And most people don't know who they are. They don't wanna know who they are, they have a dream. And that's why their businesses fail. Number one, because they live in a fantasy world that has nothing to do with reality. Number two, they'd like to pretend that they are something that they're not. So how could you create a business based on quote-unquote yourself or your skill when it's an illusion, a fantasy? Then there's the actual reality of the marketplace, which is full of sharks and people who are, some people are sincere, some people just want to take your shit. Some people want to make money, that's all they want, and they're going to suck all the attention. So you have to have a sense of that also. Then you have to have a sense of actually how do you construct an organization. And I'm not really, what's a business? It's a machine. It's like building a car, a vehicle. And a vehicle is made of parts. And I have to understand the importance of all of these parts as an entrepreneur and understand, well, I don't do this and I don't do this and I don't do this and I don't do that without neglecting or reducing the importance of that. I detest administration. Yeah, I can detest administration as much as I want. I love administration when it's good for my business. And I love the person who does administration for me because they relieve me of an anxiety and they allow my business to grow. So I'm very grateful for administration, but my personal feeling towards administration is I don't like that kind of music. It's not for me. So I have to understand the parts, the components that make a business function and, dare I say, delegate. I need to find the people who can do that, which brings the new problems. Now I got to deal with people. And people have moods. And their moods go up and their moods go down. Sometimes they're motivated, sometimes they're not motivated. Sometimes they just want to take shit from you and don't really want to do. Sometimes they want to sabotage your business. Sometimes they want to fuck you over. And there's all this subtle stuff going on. And this is why I love studying the psyche. When you enter into a corporation, they remove the psyche element. That's why they treat you like an animal. Coming at that time, do this, these are your tasks. They treat you like, they want you to be a robot because in a couple of minutes, they're going to replace you with a robot. But in small and medium businesses, you're not going to deal with robots. There's a personal aspect still in the business. So eventually you deal with people and their psyche and their problems and their issues. So suddenly now I want to grow my business, but I got an employee or a person who works with me or a partner, call it what you want, and now their personal issues are my issues. Because if this person has a problem with her boyfriend and then she comes to work, she's not in the mood. Which means she's going to be slow at work. Or she's going to want to suck energy to compensate for the fact that yesterday she lost energy. So now my business becomes her playground to suck energy. Now I got a problem with that. So obviously you want to fire her, but it's not easy to find good workers. And you have to understand that people have all kinds of moods. So then you're going to want to help that person solve her problems so that she can work effectively. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So your modern corporation doesn't give a fuck about you. It wants you to be a robot that has no emotion. As a woman, you go through your menstrual cycle. They don't want you to have a menstrual cycle. They don't care how you feel. You know very well that when you're ovulating, you're in a certain kind of zone. And when you're menstruating, you're in a different kind of zone. Your energy is totally different. If you had the choice and you were actually connected to yourself, you'd rather stay at home or be in a quiet zone. But here you are, you have to go sales. Hey! But you're kind of like, hey! The corporation doesn't give a fuck about you. Doesn't care about your mood. Doesn't care about where you're at. It wants you to be technically a robot. But the reality is that there's a person with their psychology. And a business and a corporation becomes so much an organic, conscious organization, becomes so much more than just a money-making machine using humans as robots. It becomes literally a home, and the entrepreneur now has to institute a culture. He doesn't have to. That's what I do. Institute a culture of people first. The reason, even from a capitalistic point of view, is that people first, because if it's not people first, that person is not effective, and if they're not effective, my business is going to suffer, and to replace that person is difficult. You take a lot of energy to train a person, get to accommodate that person, get to know that person. So it's a people first, because that person invests 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours of their life, of their week to the business. It's their life. So if the business doesn't give them more than just a couple of dollars, what's the point? This is a dead business. It's a stupid business. I don't buy into that. The business has to institute, no, it doesn't have to. My business has instituted a culture of health and healing at the foundation, because health and healing is the foundation of my life. And when a person comes and works in an organization or a company that I'm associated with, I want that person to have the right mindset, that they want to take care of themselves, because if they're not taking care of themselves, then my business has to take care of them like their little baby. No, you have to take care of your health. I can teach you, I can show you how. In corporation, they call it stress management. This is a load of shit. Another lie, right? I've done talks in corporations. They don't give a fuck about you. Let's be straight. They bring a buffoon like me to entertain you for a couple of hours to make you believe that they care about you, but they don't. Right? Anyways, long story short. So institute a culture that has at the heart the worker or the team, and to help them not just fulfill their task, but to improve as an individual, as a human being, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's all one, right? But nowadays that would be almost dangerous, because this one believes in this God and that God, so we can't talk about God, certainly can't talk about politics. I don't do that shit. So these are in my businesses, I deal with people that I relate to, that there's a harmony and a synergy, and there's a correspondence. We connected. Right? But let's say you're Amazon, it's a whole other business and a whole other world, but I certainly not Amazon, not even a little bit close to it. So I don't have the problems Amazon has. So all this to say, for me, a company and a mature entrepreneur should create a culture that is there for the well-being of the worker. Anyways, there's a cell in your organization, so if your cell is weak, it's not going to work. And your employee now, or the person that works in your organization, whatever is happening in their lives is affecting them. So now you especially as you grow as an organization, you have more power and more wealth. Your job is to assist them to take care of their lives also, whatever that may mean for you at this point. And if their community is suffering, you have to also, it's your responsibility, if you have the wealth to do it, to help their communities, because it's all one at the end of the day. And that's what you don't see in this fucking bogus capitalistic, insane capitalism mindset, because they don't fucking care. The human is a resource that they want to replace you with a machine. They don't give a fuck about you. They want to cut you down. And they want to replace you with machines. And that's why the world is insane. But real dharmic organizations have at heart the human being, and the human being now is part of their organization. And the human being, when they leave work, they're in a space, their family, their environment, their community. So all of that has to be healthy. If their environment is full of violence, they're tense. If their household, there's no resources, or the children don't go to proper school, there's tension. If their environment is full of violence on the outside and there's war, it's not effective for business. This is when your company creates not-for-profit organization, is to help the community at large in which your workers are living in, so that there's more harmony everywhere, so everybody's more effective, more relaxed, more light, more fluid. They know how to eat, they know how to, they understand how to take care of themselves, their families are taken care of. If they have a problem with you help everybody so that your organization can grow. But not in a modern world. Today, that would be the stupidest thing. We want to take from you as much as possible, and we're going to whip you and drug you on Kit Kats and fucking gurus so that all you can do is do your robotic job and you have a meter, and if you don't do that, we're going to beat you. We're going to fire you, and you're going to have nothing, and your children are going to die. They're motivated by fear. And that's the modern world today. Fear is the engine. Now, I understand this, don't get me wrong, but it's like, well, that's not, I don't want to live in a world like this. I don't want to create organizations that are based on this. There's no pleasure. What's the point? It's like playing your favorite sport with a bunch of people who are only playing because they're scared of losing their pride or their appearance or their girlfriend. It's very stressful. It's very unpleasant. You want to play something with a bunch of friends who love the game, who want to play the game, who want to improve at the game, who enjoy the fraternity with the other players, who enjoy the competition and the adversary that helps you to become better at the game. It's a whole other sport than you're playing because you're afraid to lose your job and your life is going to be ruined and your wife is going to leave you. One is, dare I say, love, and the other one is fear. Well, my world is not based on this. I don't buy into that. It's not for me.